Hey, how are you guys? It is Harrison Barron from growth-generators.com. Now, in this video, I want to talk about what the actual MSP business model is, and I am cutting out all of the fat. Bare bones, what does an MSP actually do? How does it help businesses? And ultimately, how do you, as the MSP business owner, make money? I'm diving into all of that in this video. Before I get into it, I do want to mention two quick things. Number one, I do have a masterclass. There is a link down below. It's usually the first link. In there, I give 5 ways to make significantly more money, although it is getting a massive overhaul. Probably in the next couple weeks. It's still coming, I promise you, but I'm mentioning it in every video. I have gotten fantastic feedback. I don't care if you are a veteran of the industry, just getting started, or you're a salesperson for another company. It is worth going through. I promise you that. You're going to get a ton of value out of that. Number two, a lot of people keep commenting on what are helpful videos. I put all of that information in the video description. So underneath that masterclass, you're going to see tons and tons of information regarding other videos, worksheets, handouts, the whole nine. It's all there to help accelerate it, and videos that support worksheets, worksheets that support videos. It's all in there. I don't do it for my health. I do it because I love you guys. I appreciate you guys always checking in on these videos. So first, what is an MSP? And essentially, an MSP is a high tier IT company. That's all it really is at the core of it. Now, there are people in the industry that want to get super technical with it, but a managed service provider is simply an outsourced IT company. And the best way I can explain it is think of Geek Squad on steroids. Now, I know, before anybody throws a fit, I understand Geek Squad, and they're great for consumers, but an MSP is for a business, and they are doing what I would consider proactive, or the world would consider proactive IT services. And I'm going to get into that, but I just want to paint the picture of what an MSP is. And the reason why I said Geek Squad on steroids is because sometimes you're going to run into clients that really don't know what an MSP actually is. And that has been, in my opinion and expertise and experience, a lot of X's, the simplest way to explain it to somebody, because they know that the billion-dollar company, what those guys in blue, or now black, I think, do. So when I say that, they immediately know, oh, okay, so you guys are just going to help me on my business instead of my home and whatever personal stuff I have. That is at the core what an MSP is. It is a high-tier IT company that provides proactive everything. Now, let's talk about the services, right? We got to dive into number two. And what services do MSPs actually provide? Now, every MSP is going to be different. I'm not going to lie there. Every business owner is going to do something a little bit differently. But right off the bat, we have network management and monitoring, data and backup and recovery, security services, cloud services and management, help desk and technical support, and IT consulting and strategic planning. Those are the core. There are plenty of other companies that add things in and beef it up, but at its core, that is exactly what is offered. Now, if you don't know what any of those are, you definitely want to take a moment to subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to be diving into how to make more money and what all those things are down the road. But at its core, that is what your service offering actually is. So when a client sends you a check, in this case, I'll pretend that this is a check, and sends it into you, and it's a M.2 SSD, right? Sends it in. That's what they're getting. That's what they're paying for. In most cases, the client is really worried about two things: proactive monitoring, making sure that things are getting backed up appropriately, right? All the other things do come into play. But the second thing is, and the reason why I'm mentioning these is because this is what the customer sees all of the time. You're going to be doing all the other stuff, but the customer still sees something. And the second part is your IT help desk. A consumer can call in and say, hey, so-and-so company, I am having computer issues. My printer's not working. My computer's running slow. I'm sure we've all heard it. My computer's black. I don't know what's going on. Is it plugged in? It sounds crazy, but that is really what the main group of services that an MSP actually goes and offers. Now, you might not be offering one of those, so you might want to start considering that. Now, how does an MSP get paid? Right, we're going to dive into my bullet number 3 here, and that is usually a subscription model. And the reason why I say subscription model and usually is because most people start an MSP when they're leaving the break-fix world, because they already have experience in fixing networks, fixing computers, working on computers, installing these suckers, whatever it may be. And I just happen to have this on my desk. that is how they're getting paid. They're leaving that one time and going to a monthly because you're monthly doing stuff. You're running scripts, you're cleaning out computers, you're checking logs, you're backing up, you're making sure backups are successful. That customer calls in. They don't have to worry about this ongoing and ever-growing bill. You are taking care of that as part of your package or bundle, and it's all put in there. But you should be getting a paycheck every single month. And in most cases, you're probably going to want to offer a contract of at least 12 months. You can go more. If you want to shoot for the sky and go for 3 or 5 years, more power to you. But I have found that at least for new customers, a 12-month contract is the best thing to do. It's long enough that you can do a ton of stuff and work for them and still make some money, but it's short enough that if they don't love what they're getting, the customer can still leave. You can't make any money on a 3-month or 6-month contract. It's just too short. You're going to be in the hole for more work than you'd actually be getting paid for. But the subscription model is typically how MSPs get paid. Now, in the beginning, you might want to do a month to month. That's up to you. Not my recommendation. I'm a big fan of 1 year. Try to get them in if you build up the confidence to get to that point. Now, the fourth thing is a proactive approach. And I have to dive into this because a proactive approach is realistically what a IT company or MSP is really doing at its core. Yes, it's going to do all those services that I mentioned, but it's in a proactive manner, not a reactive. Break fix is reactive. Something becomes broken, you go through and fix it. In the MSP world, you're typically running scripts, running an RMM, remote managing and monitoring solution, to see when hard drives need to be defragged, when hard drives are full, security breaches, patches, the whole nine. But it's a proactive approach. You're leveraging technology. Could be softwares, could be outsourced softwares, could be internal softwares, ConnectWise, Enable, the list goes on and on. You can go through and leverage those softwares to get information to then go out and be proactive. You can let business owners know weeks in advance that, hey, we have a computer that is dying. We are literally watching the health of it, and it is going down every single day. We need to do something about it. And that brings me to point number 5, which is going to be cost efficient. And the reason why you're cost efficient is I'm going to give you a couple little scenarios. Scenario 1, person X is having an issue with their computer. Person X goes over to person Y and bothers person Y and says, hey, I'm having an issue with my computer. Person Y gets up, walks over to person X's computer, and now you have 2 people trying to solve one problem on a computer that could have been resolved if they just picked up the phone or put in a service ticket online. You're saving time in 2 areas most of the time. Now, adding that in with productivity and being proactive, you're starting to build a real case for why you are more productive and you are costing the company less money. On top of that, I already went through scripting, seeing how all that stuff works. You can then tell companies, hey, you have a computer dying. And maybe that's employee X that's slowly dying's computer. And maybe employee X makes $50 an hour at $100,000 a year. Well, if their computer just dies one day, it might take a day or 2 days or 3 days for them to get a new computer and set up for that person. That's 3 days of that person not working. At $50 an hour, you do the math. It starts to add up pretty quickly. A company can then say, hey, you know what? We're just going to go through, we're going to hire this MSP, and they're going to be able to tell us when computers are dying. Now, there's always the case of somebody drops, I'm not going to drop my phone, but somebody drops technology. There's always the what ifs, and you can't plan for that. But what you can do is be proactive. Servers dying, you can see antiquated switches, antiquated firewalls, whatever you choose, you can go and see as an MSP leveraging technology, but you are making it more cost efficient for the customer and helping show future IT costs coming down the road. Now, you also have to think about scaling, which is going to bring me to number 6. Scaling is huge. A lot of times a company would consider an MSP because it's more expensive to hire somebody in-house. But not only is it more expensive, that person has to learn the entire network. They never get a sick day. But even worse, where are they getting their training from? They're constantly working in the same environment. They're never exposed to something other than what they deal with every single day. It's just impossible for a company to hire somebody internally, at least if it's only one person, and say, hey, you're going to be the guy that or girl that takes care of all the technology. But you also can't ever go away. You can't leave the country. You always have to be on the internet. We'll pay for your internet packages. And that person now has a ball and chain everywhere they go, which kind of stinks. As an MSP, you can then grow as your clients are growing. As they're adding more, you just know, hey, I need to hire another employee. And you already have all of the expertise, all of the training, and so many different environments that employees get supercharged with technology knowledge as opposed to them working in-house. So it removes the need for a company to hire internal staff and allows them to say, hey, we're going to hire an MSP. And no matter how many new customers we get, then MSP can handle it because we're going to grow and they'll grow too. There's a relationship between businesses where an MSP gets paid based on the number of users or computers, devices, and that's how they can continuously scale and make money and grow. Now, number 7, I've already kind of dabbled in it, is expertise and specialization. When a company hires an internal staff, they're going to be very specialized in that environment, but they're never going to know anything else. God forbid something else goes terribly wrong. And that's where an MSP comes into play. So you have that ability to scale, but also the expertise of all of those people being in the same environment all the time. Now, they're not in the same environment as far as companies, but they're in the same environment as far as the office, where they can then say, hey, you know what? Look at my computer. We're working on this. We're cleaning up this. We're doing a data migration. We are doing an Outlook migration. Whatever it is, you have to understand that the expertise that you're going to gain by hiring somebody internally as an MSP and the value that a client gets by hiring an MSP, because you're teaching all of these people and you're getting them either certified, just consistent training, and you're dealing with vendors who provide specialized training. The list goes on and on of benefits. That's when you can start to specialize, get way more knowledge than you would have ever planned to get. And clients now feel really comfortable because you have a elite team of expertise ready at their disposal when they have a black screen and didn't realize that their computer isn't plugged in, which happens more often than you would probably ever guess. And number 9, which I think is probably the coolest part about it, is you get to build some really cool client relations, both as a technician, which I once was, and as a salesperson, which I once was, and as a business owner, which I am. That is the most rewarding thing. I loved going into people's offices as a technician and talking to the business owners, the employees. What do they like? What do they not like? And using my ears and listening to see if there was other sales opportunities, to see if there was other growth opportunities, and just to learn about the business. My knowledge exploded in the MSP world simply because I got to go in and see really high-end lawyers, accountants, some of the best real estate people in the industry. And the list goes on. And I got to go there and see what they're working on, how they do it. And it was just this eye-opening experience as my entire career of seeing what goes on, how it goes on, and getting the behind the scenes and seeing technology and how technology can help businesses grow. And that client relation that you're going to build as an MSP is worth its weight in gold. It is the coolest experience in the world. Technicians love it. Salespeople love it. As a business owner and other business owners, it is the coolest experience ever. So there's not just the benefit of owning an MSP, getting that monthly MRR, monthly recurring revenue, and that ARR, annual recurring revenue, but it's this incredible experience of being in the MSP world, leveraging technology, helping these companies grow, seeing and following their journey, and you being involved in the technology every step of the way. It is so much fun. It is the coolest thing in the world, but that is the basics of an MSP. Now, if you think I missed something, which I may have, but this is my list and it's my video, but I am always open to new ideas, feedback, things like that. So leave a comment down below. I'd be very curious to see if I missed something as far as the basics of an MSP business model. But other than that, that's everything that you need to know. What you choose to do beyond that is totally up to you. There are so many hidden benefits that I could never dive into because it's so much fun, and the process is the coolest process ever. You get to hang out with some incredibly smart people. You get to work on some incredibly cool technology, and you're always on the cutting edge of what's new, what's great, who's doing what, how do they do it, and how does it work, and how can you implement it for customers. So I hope you guys found value in this video. If you did, hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that little I gotta get a little bell, that little notification bell. And I love you guys. I'll see you guys later. Bye.